And we're doing it. Lucy was just hanging out. I'm talking about you. Lucy the cat, she's chilling out over there. She was hanging out right here. But then she was like, no, I'm bailing. I got things to do. It's lounge time. Don't know what your deal is. But not my concern. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Moose Gal? How are ya? Hello, Statutory. Good to see ya. What's up, Karen? What's up, Matthew? Hello, Poopy Cakes. Nice. That's an awesome username. What's up, Pacific Northwest Vegan for Bernie and Tulsi? Hello, Anna. Hello, Paul. Get your news on with Ron. What's up, DLJ? Hello from Vietnam. That is really cool. I want to go there sometime. Hello, Justine. Lucy will probably come back around here. She's kind of walking around a little bit and trying to. Oh, there she is. Yeah, she's just sort of playing around. She might come by for a visit. We'll think. I think Hostess sells poopy cakes. I think so too. EG, what's up? Hello, Philly. We're going to be seeing you soon. I hope you're coming to the show, EG. We're going to be in Philly for 2 nights, June 14th and 15th. Tickets are available at romplicone.com. I hope to see you there. What's up, Lisa? Hello in Portland, Oregon. I hope to get to Portland very soon as well. But Philly, I'll be there June 14th and 15th. What's up, Anthony? Cam, what's up? My hometown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Good to see you. Golfer Jack, let's go Blues. When are you coming to St. Louis? Do not have any plans for St. Louis right now, but I do hope to get to St. Louis soon. And, yeah, I do have plans to go to Boston, however, since we're talking about hockey. So I will be in Boston June 19th. If there's any Boston folks, grab your tickets now, romplicone.com. Yeah. 2 nights in Philly and the world's your oyster. Right on. Yep. Yeah, EG, we're going to be in Philly. I hope to see you there. You can grab tickets now at romplicone.com. Jim Hyden reminds us that LA City homelessness is up by 16%. I'm surprised it's not even higher, to tell you the truth. Chris Wynn, the feds are going to be visiting some of my friends for a government clearance for my new job. Well, let's hope your friends are cool about that. Tina, what's up? Hello from Brooklyn. Tina, we're going to be in New York City on June 17th. I hope to see you there. We'll be in June 17th. We will be in New York City at the Broadway Comedy Club. Tickets available at romplicone.com. I hope to see you there. Yeah, hope to see you there. All right, guys, we are over 30. That means, you know what that means. That means it's official. The show has begun. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys send me ideas, you tweet me articles, you let me know what you want to talk about, and that's how we build the show. I'm seeing everything for the first time. And so this has been circulating around the blogosphere for a couple days now. We're going to start here. Because good old Joe Biden, turns out Joe Biden lied about a couple things. One of them, he lied about marching in the civil rights movement. You know, him and Bernie have a lot in common. Bernie marched in the civil rights movement. Biden lied about marching in the civil rights movement. Isn't that interesting? All right, so let's go into this. Joe Biden, the headline here is that Biden lied about marching with civil rights movement and claimed it had no policy agenda. So an article highlighting the failures of Joe Biden's first presidential campaign touched on one particularly problematic gaffe in which Biden lied about marching with the civil rights movement. In the New York Times' latest piece in its series The Long Run, which delves into the records of the current 2020 Democratic presidential candidates, Biden's lie about marching with the civil rights movement is prominently featured early on. All right, so here's what he would say. So in the first 3 paragraphs, the Times' Matt Fleigenheimer noted how staffers for Biden's unsuccessful 1988 campaign tried to get their candidate to stop lying about being in civil rights marches. Biden also suggested the movement didn't do marches with a 12-point program, but simply to change attitudes. That's what Biden said. So here's the quote that Biden would say. When I marched in the civil rights movement, I did not march with a 12-point program, Mr. Biden thundered, testing his presidential message in February 1987 before a New Hampshire audience. I marched with tens of thousands of others to change attitudes, and we changed attitudes. More than once, advisors, this is from the New York Times article, more than once, advisors had gently reminded Mr. Biden of the problem with this formulation. He had not actually marched during the civil rights movement. And more than once, Mr. Biden assured them he understood and kept telling the story anyway. Paul Waterman from the Washington Post says implying that the civil rights movement didn't have a policy agenda is utterly ignorant and offensive. New Republic contributing editor Jeet Hare says this is going to be such a problem if he's the nominee. Hey, I wasn't really part of it and I didn't march there, except I did march there, and let me tell you, they have no policy agenda. Joe Biden lied about marching in the civil rights movement. Good job, Joe. And by the way, there's statistics out there that supports the theory that I said a couple days ago, that the reason Joe Biden isn't out there doing a whole lot is because his campaign knows already he has an inability to raise his poll numbers. The more he talks, the less people will like him. The more he talks, the more that's going to come out about his past, and that guy has more baggage than the Atlanta airport. And we're already seeing a bunch of it. The primaries barely started. We're already seeing a bunch of it. There's going to be a bunch more. I think in some ways he would do even worse than Hillary Clinton if he's the nominee. Which it doesn't matter if it's worse. It's still going to be a loss. He's going to lose. Or he would lose if he's the nominee. But I think he will be even worse positioned than Hillary Clinton was. Which if you would have told me in 2017 that that's possible, I would have said no. I would have said there's no way. But, looking at the way things have gone for Joe Biden in recent, 2016 Joe Biden probably would have beat Trump, because I think a lot of that stuff about him wouldn't have come to the surface. He was still just friendly Uncle Joe to people. He was just the guy that had the bromance with Obama and was the wiser, older person behind Obama. That's what people saw him as. None of it was true. It was just complete bullshit. They just kind of made up that persona because he was so behind the scenes and he didn't do anything. Nonetheless, I think that fake persona would have given him enough to beat a Donald Trump. But 2020, he's not beating Donald Trump. Now that persona is gone and we see the real Joe Biden, that person will lose to Donald Trump. So, and he lied about marching in the civil rights movement. That's, so far, what all has the Biden campaign accomplished? Well, he started his campaign with a bunch of executives from Comcast at a dinner. Bernie started it talking to legions of people in Brooklyn. Biden started it at a Comcast executive dinner. He's creeped people out because he doesn't know the concept of personal space. And he's made jokes about it that have been not well received on the blogosphere. His rallies look like a potluck bingo dinner. There's like 20 people at a lot of them. I mean, you saw when he entered that gymnasium and just a couple people clapped and there was, And now they're not even having him do events because they know the more he talks, the less people are going to like him. You want to try to coast on that name recognition because the more he talks, the less people will like him. And it's always been that way because in the 80s, he used to lie about marching in the civil rights movement. And he was fine with it. His staff reminded him, hey, you're lying about that. Why would you want to work for somebody who does that? Why would you want to work for somebody who knowingly lies about something very significant like the civil rights movement, and then also bashes the movement, subtly bashes, says that they don't have a policy agenda when it's like you weren't even there? Joe Biden. And I know some people out there that want to try to defend Joe Biden. They're like, well, isn't it fair to say he's evolved? No, it's not fair to say that, because here's what Joe Biden has proven throughout his entire career. His opinions and convictions are up for sale to the highest bidder, so he will always be on the side of the status quo and the oligarchy. That's what he has proven throughout history. And even his own words support that. You can find a clip of Joe Biden when he was younger saying, "I was ready to take their money and prostitute myself." He's referring to the donor class. That's literally a quote from him. So no, it's not, oh, well, Joe Biden's evolved. No, he hasn't evolved. He's been the exact same. Status quo, I got your back. Oligarchy, I got your back because I know where the gravy train's at. And I like that gravy train. That's Joe Biden. That's all he's ever been. That's all he will ever be. One thing he's not going to be is president, because he would lose to Donald Trump. So if Biden's the nominee, we're stuck with Trump. And that's horrible news for the frickin' world. All right, so Joe Biden lying about civil rights, marching in the civil rights movement. Good job, Joe Biden. Way to go. Way to go. Oh, you know what? You know what he does stand for, though? We'll stay with Joe Biden for a little bit. Here's another thing from the Hill about Joe Biden. Biden campaign confirms that he does support a controversial abortion rule. All right, what's going on here? Former Vice President Joe Biden's presidential campaign confirmed that he still supports a controversial ban prohibiting the use of federal funds for certain abortion services. Campaign aides told The Hill that the 2020 presidential hopeful still supports the Hyde Amendment. The Hyde Amendment, which has prevented government health programs like Medicaid from paying for abortions except in cases of rape, incest, or to save the life of the woman. Biden's campaign did say that Biden would be open to repealing the amendment if abortion access currently protected under Roe v. Wade was threatened. NBC News first reported Biden's stance on the measure. The support appears to differ from what Biden told an American Civil Liberties Union volunteer when asked about the Hyde Amendment last month. "It can't stay," he said. The Biden campaign told The Hill that Biden misheard the ACLU volunteer. Sure he did. And thought she was referring to the Mexico City rule, which prevents federal aid money from going to organizations overseas that perform abortions. Why would he think that? Why would he think? Why, in the United States, somebody asking about abortion in the contemporary United States, where a lot's been going on recently, and he's like, "Oh, you're talking about Mexico City, right?" "No, I'm not. I'm talking about fucking where we live. I'm talking about the United States. Why do you think I was referring to some Mexico City rule?" What the fuck, Joe Biden? He didn't mishear shit. He just told that person what he thought they wanted to hear, and he was hoping that it wouldn't get out. He didn't mishear anything. That's bullshit. Once again, Joe Biden is lying and bullshitting, because that's what he's good at. That's how he's built a career. He's one of those politicians where you're like, oh, this is the type of personality that can succeed in an institution like this. That's why, a while ago I said, in the past 2.5 years, I've had more peeks under the hood to the political process than I've ever had in my life. As a result, I am more cynical towards our system than I ever have been in my life. I once made the remark that 70% of the time when I meet a politician, I typically like them even less. And I retract that statement. It was way too generous. 90% is way more accurate. I would say 90% of the time. When I meet a politician, I think less of them. And you see people like Joe Biden who excel on just pleasing the donor class, having no convictions whatsoever, being completely up for sale, standing for nothing, not seeing this as being a problem. And what they're doing makes themselves rich when they hurt other people. And Joe Biden's not alone. That's the standard mold for a politician. Republicans especially, Democrats too. That's the standard mold for a politician. If you're outside of that mold, you usually don't make it into office. And that's why when I make the statement I made, by the way, about the 90% thing, I'm not referring to the people, the progressives trying to enter and trying to run for office. I'm not referring to them. I'm referring to those inside the Beltway. And Joe Biden is the quintessential thing of everything that's wrong with Washington. He's not the only person that, exemplifies everything that's wrong, but he's one of them. And you can trust me, I drink water from a mason jar. Would you want to vote for somebody who doesn't drink water from a mason jar? Really? Joe Biden. So he supports this amendment. All right, let's see more about this mental gymnastics where he's justifying a lie he told an ACLU volunteer. Oh, you misheard them. Thought you were talking about Mexico City. Biden has never changed his support for the Hyde Amendment, the campaign clarified. He appears to be the only Democratic White House hopeful who has come out in support of the 43-year-old ban. Even Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, even Beto O'Rourke think they should end this amendment. What are you when Beto O'Rourke and Cory Booker are just a little too far left for you? You're a Republican. You are a Republican. Joe Biden could do this country a huge service if he ran for president as a Republican. It makes more sense. It makes way more sense. But he's not going to do that because that would actually help the country, not himself. See how that works? All right. So that's we're going to switch gears from 2020 here for a little bit. And we're going to go to Louisiana. So in Louisiana, they're pushing for a minimum marriage age, and conservatives fight for just 15 years old. Isn't this interesting that a lot of the same people who think that a woman shouldn't have access to an abortion and you shouldn't be able to buy cigarettes until you're 21 years old, and they're cool with you also not being able to buy booze until you're 21 years old, those are the same people who think you should be able to get married at 15. That's awesome. You should be able to get married at 15. You can get married at 15. You can make a decision to go die for a bunch of rich people in oil countries in an unjust war that we shouldn't be in. You should be able to make that decision at 18. You should be able to get married at 15. But buying a drink, buying cigarettes, you should be 21 to do all that stuff. All right. So this is what's going on in Louisiana. This is from The Advocate. Conservatives in the state house fought back a measure to set a minimum age to marry at 17 in Louisiana, heavily amending the bill to allow people under the age of 16 to get married with some conditions. The state currently has no age floor for getting married, and backers of the legislation said current law allowing child marriages leaves young girls vulnerable to human trafficking and cover-ups for rape. This is to make sure we don't have people covering up acts of rape as a marriage, said State Rep Stephanie Hilferty, a Republican from New Orleans, a supporter of the legislation. This is a child protection issue. Hilferty convinced the state to agree to raise the age to 17 after the original bill by State Senator Yvonne Cullum, a Democrat of Baton Rouge, set an age of 16. The vote on Hilferty's amendment was 63-31, but the supporters of the bill, which included State Rep Pat Smith, who handled it in the House for Cullum, faced stiff resistance from several conservative lawmakers who touted the benefits of marriage even between 15-year-olds. Republicans heavily rewrote the bill to allow for minors to get married under some conditions. We want children to be born into wedlock if possible. So that's their justification. We're discouraging that with this. If they're both 16 or 15 and having a baby, why wouldn't we want them to get married? If teenagers make a mistake, let's make sure that they can make another potential really big mistake that's going to be even harder for them to get out of. Let's throw marriage on top of all of it. They can't get an abortion. They can't do that. They have to be stuck with this decision for the rest of their lives. Well, let's add to it by making them get married. Republicans, this is a benefit, according to some of the Republicans involved with this. Imagine waking up and that's the big issue on your mind. Hey, how can I make life shittier for other people? How can I make sure that young children have to get married? How can I make sure that if they get pregnant, that they should have to get married, that they're able to get married, to potentially make things way worse? Hey, you're not equipped to have a child. You're not ready for a child. You might not be able to afford it. You're in way over your head. This was not planned. You don't have access to an abortion. And by the way, but don't worry, we have laws so you can get married. We have laws so you can spend the rest of your life with this person, or you have to go through a divorce. We're looking out for you with those laws. You don't have the right to choose, but you do have the right to get married. You can get married when you're 15. I couldn't even settle on what kind of guitar I wanted when I was 15. I didn't even know which skateboard was the best one. I was still discovering music. I did not have any political views, pretty much whatsoever, until I was a little older. 15 was when I stopped going to church voluntarily. It was when I started to question a lot of the things I was taught. I was raised Catholic. And it was around that time I ended up, really questioning a lot of it and didn't identify with most of it anymore. So 15 is when you're starting to develop, convictions and ideas of your own, and you're starting to somewhat figure out who you are. You're not ready to get married. And why would you want to? And I know there's exceptions to that. There's people who have been together with the same person since they were like 14 or whatever, and those are anomalies, and that's amazing. All power to them. They, met a very special person, and they grew together, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Why do you need to rush getting a legal document involved? Why do you need to rush the marriage part of it? And I will say, out of all my friends, and this is just, this isn't data per se, but out of all my friends, the ones that got married the youngest have all gotten divorced. The ones that got married the youngest out of my friends, all of them have gotten divorced. Not some, all of them. I don't know if anyone else that's the same, but for me, that's the case. And when I say young, I'm not saying 15. I'm not even saying 18. I'm saying 22. My friends that got married... Well, wait. Yeah. My friends that got married the youngest at now some that got married a little later than that, 25, they're still married. But the ones that got married right out of college, or right out of college age rather, they're pretty much all divorced. Yeah. But Louisiana, they're looking, how do you wake up, be like, yeah, we got to help out these kids with the unwanted pregnancy. We got to be able to help them out. They should get married. That'll fix it. That'll fix everything. That'll fix this child that they're totally unprepared for. That'll fix that. They have a document. They have a legal document. Wow. Louisiana. Don't want you to have a right to an abortion. Don't want you to be able to get a pack of cigarettes. Don't want you to be able to order a drink. But they do want you to be able to get married at 15. And when you're 18, you can go off and die in a war for rich people. There we go. That's the land of the free for you. All right, so we didn't talk about this on Monday. I know Monday is usually our big music day. But we actually have a couple music stories today that I want to get to. In this one, Rocky Erickson passed recently, and we didn't get to talk about it. So I wanted to do that today. So here's an article from Rolling Stone. Admittedly, I'm not crazy fluent in Rocky Erickson. I know 13th Floor Elevators. I know that in his more recent solo stuff, he was touring with the band Ockerville River, a band I'm a fan of, and I think he was living in Austin. So here's a little bit of a review, a look back at the 50-plus years of surreal sound and vision from the late rock and roll enigma. So this is from the article. This article is written by David Frick. This is him speaking. I saw Rocky Erickson perform in performance for the last time on September 5th, 2017 at Rough Trade Records in Brooklyn. I've never been to the Brooklyn location, but I have been to the London one, and it is really freaking cool. It turned out to be the best of the many Erickson shows I saw over almost 3 decades. I was not in the right space-time quadrant to see his enduring psychedelic highness in his original habitat and blow-up years, Texas and San Francisco, between 1966 and 1967, with Austin-born Sears' The 13th Floor Elevators, when the band was on the perpetual edge of trouble and discovery with a frantic union of pop song nerve, white blues frenzy, and acid travel zealotry. Some good prose. That's some good prose. It's a mouthful to say all at once when you're reading it for the first time, but some good prose. But that night in the back of a record store in New York, a city where the Elevators never played, I did not know that. How's that for some fun trivia? I know the 13th Floor Elevators, which if anyone's not in the know, they were a psychedelic rock band, kind of short-lived in the 60s. Rocky Erickson played in that band, and but I never knew they never played New York City. I know they didn't tour a whole lot because they weren't around that long. I did not know they never played New York City. That's a fun piece of trivia. Never played New York City. All right, so let's get back to the article here. Erickson brought. All right, so here's what he's saying about the show that happened at Rough Trade. Erickson brought that history and vertigo forward with a transcendent, airily focused vengeance. Backed by a brawny trio with the right garage-hardened bones, the singer, who had recently turned 70, a sweet achievement in a life consumed for so long by legal nightmares, mental illness, and poverty, played only songs from the Elevators' greatest albums, the 1966 debut, The Psychedelic Sounds of the 13th Floor Elevators, and 1967's Easter Everywhere. Perched on a stool and cradling his guitar, more like a talisman than a tool, Erickson was perfectly still, graying Buddha as he ripped right into the peeling urgency of Fire Engine and the dark gallop of Roller Coaster, both from that first album. The first time I met Rocky Erickson, he seemed perfectly normal. That impression didn't last. This is getting back to the article. It was late 1979 in Austin, and I was walking around the football field on the University of Texas campus with a fellow writer, Dave DiMartino, then of Cream magazine. Cream, of course, predated Rolling Stone magazine by a bit, and it was like the big man on campus, so to speak. I make that... I use that phrase since they're talking about being at the University of Texas at Austin. Cream was the big man on campus, then Rolling Stone came along, and Cream kind of hung around there for a little while. And Cream magazine, if you saw the movie Almost Famous, that was immortalized there. They talked about Cream magazine, the journalist who is a real journalist in real life, did some work for Cream magazine before Rolling Stone. All right, so anyway, covering the filming of a concert sequence. Okay. The band on stage playing itself in the scene was Blondie. Somehow strolling among the extras in the audience, DiMartino and I encountered Erickson. So Erickson was just an extra in this movie, Roadie. That's awesome. He was friendly, cogent, and happy to accept our compliments about his records, including the lyrically harrowing, physically searing solo singles, Red Temple Prayer, Two-Headed Dog, produced in 1975 by Doug Sam, a fan and friend, and Bermuda, unleashed by the Nascent Rhino label in 77. That night, we scribes went to Rawls, the local counterpart to CBGB, where Erickson was a house celebrity, often performing with the power trio The Explosives and in attendance. That conversation didn't go so well. Erickson talked about an impending trip to Mars and asked if we had tickets. The legend of Erickson's unraveling since the end of the Elevators in 1969 caught up with us. So Erickson's psychological decline was long and deep. He was fixated on horror movies, and many of the songs on his thrilling 1980 import comeback, Rocky Erickson and the Aliens, produced by Stu Cook, basis for CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. But Erickson always made his own kind of sense, even through heavy darkness. All right. So, and the article references this. For the historic details on Erickson's Nightmare and Resurrection, go to Kevin McAllister's 2005 feature documentary, You're Gonna Miss Me. A striking visual ride through a whirlwind life. So You're Gonna Miss Me is the name of that documentary if you want to check out, if you want to really dive into Rocky Erickson's life. I wasn't super fluent in him. I mean, I knew 13th Floor Elevators a little bit. My buddy Ben from college, who I would drive home with a lot. I went to Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. My hometown is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Ben was from New York City. So a lot of times we would drive home together. Ben had a car, I did not. So we would drive home together from Bloomington. Ben would drop me off in Pittsburgh and then continue his trip to New York City because it was on the way. So, and he went through a really big 13th Floor Elevators kick where it was just all he listened to constantly. So, yeah, I kind of got into them initially in college via my buddy Ben, listened to them some. I knew in recent years Rocky Erickson was touring with a band I'm a fan of called Ockerville River. They were his backing band. I thought that was really neat. I never got to catch it, but I appreciated it for what it was. And Rocky Erickson, psychedelic rock legend, had his demons, battled a lot of them, and we lost him recently. I recommend checking out this Rolling Stone article, and I recommend checking out the documentary You're Gonna Miss Me, which I think I'm going to check out myself, because I want to get more up to speed on Rocky Erickson. But rest in power, Rocky. And there you go. So, do you like coffee? Do you like coffee? Well, guess what? Drink up. Drink up. Because here's some news. In a major reversal, California says coffee does not pose a significant cancer risk and may even help protect against some cancers. How do you like that? Here's what I have to say to it. Oh, here's my coffee mug and I'm taking a drink. Yes, refreshing, rewarding and refreshing. Coffee it up, because it's good for ya. It's good for ya. And you know, this has been going on forever, and it will continue going on forever. First, coffee's good for you, then it's bad for you. Then it's good for you, then it's bad for you. Then it's good. I think in reality, it's like one of those things. It has some benefits, it has some not benefits. At the end of the day, caffeine is an addiction. It's an addiction that I have. It's an addiction that I'm sure many of you have. And also what coffee really does, it doesn't actually energize you naturally. It just sort of triggers a lot of chemicals to make you think you're not tired. That is what it does. But without it, I'd be hella fucking miserable. Without it, I would not be pleasant to be around. It benefits my life in that regard, and it has some other health benefits too. Does it have drawbacks as well? Absolutely. But overall, it's an addiction I can live with, and I'm fine with it. I even like the taste these days. Which took me a while. You know, I'm not sure exactly when I stopped drinking coffee black. Or started drinking coffee black. I used to put sugar in it. And it was basically just hot sugar. Like, basically, like I would make coffee. It would just taste like hot sugar. I mean, it was coffee. You could sell it, but it was just hot sugar. And then eventually I was like, this is gross. And I get indigestion from this. And I started drinking it black. And I enjoy a good coffee-water combo, as you can see here. If you're watching this, for those of you watching the video, I like a good coffee-water combo. But anyway, here's what this study revealed. California officially overturned its warning about a potential link between coffee and cancer risk on Monday. The state's Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment ruled that drinking coffee does not pose a significant risk of cancer. The chemical that regulators in California were previously warning about, acrylamide, is known as a carcinogen, but the dose in a single cup of coffee is tiny. And there's a typo here. They misspelled coffee, just like our dear President Trump. Researchers have evidence that coffee can help with your health, since there are many chemicals in coffee with anti-cancer effects. Drinking coffee, they misspelled it again. Wow, they really did not spell check. Business Insider, what are you doing? More like, I guess you're not in the business of spell check, huh? Business Insider, spell check, not our business. They misspelled coffee twice. They only did it with on one E. Maybe they're trying to emulate Donald Trump. Maybe they're fans. I don't know. All right. Coffee is linked. There's another typo. They don't have a space in between is and linked. Is linked to lower instances of cancer of the breast, uterus, prostate, liver, mouth, and throat. So California coffee lovers, go ahead, keep on sipping. There you have it. Coffee. Drink it. Another study says it's good. Benefits outweighs the cons. All the anti-cancer benefits outweigh the small amount of the carcinogen that could contribute to it. So overall, you're still given an anti-cancer punch with coffee. My dad had a bout with prostate cancer. He is better now, has had a clean bill of health since, and continues to, and hopefully that continues. But he started drinking coffee for the first time in his life recently. He never drank coffee before, but some of his doctors were telling him that overall coffee does have benefits when it comes to prostate health. So he started drinking coffee for the first time in his, I guess he might have already been 60 by that point when he started, because it was a couple years ago. Anyway, it's not important exactly how old he was, but he was older in life, started drinking coffee for the first time, and he still does, to my knowledge. I think he does still drink it. I know he's not a fan of it, because, if you start that late, he's avoided it for so long. I don't know how. Don't ask me how. My mom is the complete opposite. She will drink coffee right before she goes to bed, and it does not faze her. I'm closer to my mom than my dad in that regard. I'm not quite my mom. I'm not going to drink a cup right before bed, but I will drink coffee in the evening if I still have tasks I want to do. If I want to do a lot of writing, which is something that I will do sometimes at night, or if I have a show, I will coffee up before that happens. But right before bed, not so much. So anyway, coffee lovers, drink up. Cool. All right. Guys, you know that I have what I would refer to as a healthy fascination with UFOs and aliens in general. It's something I have a skepticism towards, and I like just exploring. We talk about it on this stream. We like to explore it. I'm not really hook, line, and sinker on any one thing, but I like exploring the different things that are out there with a curious and open mind. That being said, another thing we talked about on this show, connecting that fascination with our connection to music, Tom DeLonge, formerly of Blink-182, although apparently he might be returning to the pop-punk band Blink-182, started an academy researching aliens and UFOs. He started that in 2015. We've talked about it. Well, now he's got a series on the History Channel dedicated to this. I watched the first episode. It's interesting. It's fun. All right, so here we go. Here's this thing. Tom DeLonge explores UFOs in new History Channel series. All right, so the former Blink-182 co-frontman has executive produced a new 6-part miniseries. If you thought Tom DeLonge was too busy, blah, 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 blah. All right. So apparently the Poway, which is where he lives, pop-punk god, the article calls him a pop-punk god, is dead set on conquering all the corners of media and expanding his brand. Not only did he found To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, that's his organization that I just mentioned, which claims former high-ranking government officials and senior intelligence officers from the CIA, Department of Defense, and etc. on a mission to research alien existence and technology. He's now bringing that conversation and his obsession behind it to the History Channel. Set to premiere on Friday, May 31st, so this is from a little bit ago. A 6-part miniseries titled Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation, which DeLonge executive produced and stars in, expounds on a 2017 New York Times expose about the Pentagon's now confirmed UFO program, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. The program, which was helmed by former military intelligence official Luis Elizondo, investigated unidentified aerial phenomena until 2012 when it was shuttered. So this explores that. I don't like how we immediately just go threat. like it's like there might be some extraterrestrial life out there. Threats. This is a threat. Like we have no inkling to determine that something's a threat or not a threat. Like we have no concrete evidence of that. We do have a lot of UFO sightings. Those are something that we have. And then there's different theories that are out there. And we don't really know the truth. We don't know if all these UFOs are just government experiments. We don't know if it's something deeper than that. We don't know exactly what's at Area 51. There's a lot of different theories out there. I personally do not buy into the Greys theory that there's gray aliens that are hostile that live at Area 51. I feel like if that was the case, something would have surfaced concrete on that by now. But I do think there's certainly a lot there we don't know about. So, anyway, that series is out there. I watched the first episode. It was pretty interesting. The first episode mostly deals with a UFO sighting that they really kind of unpack, where they saw this object, and then it sort of just jumped real quick, and on the radars they could still pick it up, and it was able to travel at a speed that they could not even fathom. They didn't even know was possible. Like, it traveled faster than any aircraft we have could possibly even fathom traveling, and it was shaped like a Tic Tac. So it didn't have wings, it didn't have any type of motor that they could pinpoint, but it could move at this insanely rapid pace, and it was just shaped like a Tic Tac. It was just this white thing that they first detected in water, and then it moved really fast. It was interesting. It was very fascinating. So anyway, guys, I wanted to end on that, the Tom DeLonge miniseries. And also, special announcement, you guys know this Day of Action is happening on June 11th. I've been working with Fight for the Future. We're in the midst of the campaign. I've been appearing everywhere I can to promote our Day of Action live stream on June 11th. Please mark your calendar. Go to epiclivestream.com to participate in the stream. You can leave comments for us, and we'll read them during the stream. You can do that right now. And on June 11th, go to epiclivestream.com at 8 a.m. Eastern Time to participate in the stream. And also, here's a new fun development. Apparently, we're going to be going to Mitch McConnell's office to deliver a petition to demand that the Senate support net neutrality and that they support the Save the Internet bill and give us our net neutrality protections back. We're going to go to Mitch McConnell's office. I'm going to be there in D.C., hopefully live streaming the whole thing, and we're going to Mitch McConnell's office. Potentially. That's not cast in stone yet. But it looks like that's what we're going to be doing in DC on June 11th. So make sure you tune in at epiclivestream.com to check all that out. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then we will sign off for the day. All right. What's up, Schultzy? Occupy New Paradigm says, I'm actually surprised that UFOs aren't all people are talking about that and legalizing mushrooms. Well, they decriminalized mushrooms in Colorado. And yeah, we'll be going to that office in D.C. All right. All right. Whoa. Bluebell says they decriminalized mushrooms in Oakland today. Really? That's awesome. All right. I'll have to look into that. We'll do a story on that tomorrow because we're out of time today. Interesting. I like it. All right, guys. We are totally out of time. I got to go. Tour dates. Got them. Go to ronplacone.com. Get your tickets now. June 12th, we're going to be in Washington, D.C. June 13th, Baltimore, Maryland. June 14th and 15th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. June 16th, New Haven, Connecticut. June 17th, New York City, baby. And June 19th, Boston, Massachusetts. We're going to be on the East Coast. And, of course, before that is the Epic live stream for net neutrality on June 11th. I'll be in D.C. that day. Go to epiclivestream.com. to watch that stream. So I'll see you on the internet, and I'll see you on the East Coast. July 27th, we're back in Vegas, baby. The Progressive Comedy Tour returns to Vegas. RonPlacone.com for those tickets. The Progressive Comedy Tour is Graham Elwood and myself. Want to support this show on the sustainability end? Please do consider becoming a patron. For a Give What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. I want to do more streams. I want to do more guests. I want to have more special segments. I want to cover the news more. You can help me do that over at patreon.com/RonPlacone, and you get a bunch of exclusive content, including my album, stand-up sets not available to the public, all kinds of fun stuff. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. Give What You Can level. And, another awesome thing you can do, like these videos, share these videos, make sure you're subscribed, put it on autoplay, let the ads play all the way through, and don't just do that for me, do that for all the content creators you know and love, because it helps sustain our channel and it is essential for our survival, as is a free and open internet. That's why we're campaigning for net neutrality, June 11th, epiclivestream.com, East Coast tour right after that, ronplacone.com. Thank you so much for being part of this. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same channel, right here on YouTube and on Twitter and Facebook. You know the drill. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. You guys build this show. You send me the ideas, and that's what we talk about. Consider the news gotten. That doesn't even make sense, but you know how it goes. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.